even have Maker as backup. So that's right.
Good.
I'm ready to take
Good.
all of you on. Shadow of the Erdtree deserves
Not a
Game
deal.
of the Year,
DLC.
hands down.
Whatever, bro. Listen, it's not a game.
Rudix,
Come on now.
Not a
Rudix,
game, DLC.
you're like my Canadian brother, but sometimes
are
I
being
wonder if you really were adopted.
Bro,
Mate, it's the most. If you want to class it as a game, then fine. It costs 120 quid because you've got to buy Elden Ring base and then Shadow of the Erdtree on top of that. That's like 110, 120. That's the most expensive game, bro. The most expensive game.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing like you putting up a little barrier, but the point of the matter
That's
is
one
that
of
25
many reasons. One of many.
Well, like, okay, let's just be
25
honest here.
million people owned Elden Ring. You
yes.
owned Elden Ring.
I do.
So-
I do,
I
and
own
it's
it.
Yeah.
awesome.
Exactly. So why
But this-
not
this
jump
creates a-
into this?
This creates a dangerous precedent. Like, okay, so
Thank you, thank
what
you.
qualifies as DLC? Is it just, like, what qualifies for DLC for Game of the Year going forward? Because that means, Project CD Red should have got Game of the Year for Blood and Wine for The Witcher 3, Phantom Liberty. What? So should Spider-Man Miles Morales been a Game of the Year contender because it was technically DLC? What about Uncharted Lost Legacy? See what happens when you start doing this stuff? And that
It's
creates a bigger problem
rules
where
are
it kind of
constantly evolving, and I think anyone who's played Shadow of the Erdtree can tell that 16 different areas, a massive world that takes 60 hours of gameplay, huge bosses that challenged even the most skilled streamers for hours
okay,
on
so
end.
Rudix, my problem with this is
A large
why is it
expansion,
now?
100%.
Why is it now they're doing this? Why is it now? And I got
What's
feeling
wrong
this
with
is-
DLC? What is
once-
wrong with DLC of the year? What is wrong with
Once you see
DLC of
greatness,
the
you
year?
can't turn a blind eye to it.
No,
Oh
shut
my
up.
goodness.
Shut up.
What-
What
what-
is
what-
wrong with
what we talking about?
DLC of the year?
Let's be
Man,
real.
Shay,
about
go back
the
on Deafen,
year.
bro. Go back on Deafen. We don't need your take on this one. Okay.
Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree was released the way it was released as a financial model. It was different because we're in a different marketplace as today. I think they saw this as selling more copies as an expansion instead of a sequel, because this game could have been a sequel.
Well, then
It
Game of the Year is
reinvented your
essentially just-
entire power level as soon as you went into it. It's 16
So Game of the Year
different
just becomes a
areas.
giant advertisement for a DLC now?
Listen,
No,
let's
if
keep
your
it. Let's keep
DLC
it
is this
100,
great,
Rudix.
then maybe.
Rudix,
Yeah.
let's keep it 100%. The only reason that this even touched the category is because this year sucked. Any good game, they're all in the same categories. Everyone's going to win this year.
No,
And
the reason why
Erdtree is winning. Erdtree is going to
It
win
was
Game of the Year.
slim
Why?
pickings.
It was the best gaming content that was released this year. Is it in
I
that?
can
Should
agree
it
with
be in
that,
that
100%.
category? No, it should be in DLC, ongoing game. That kind of.
Thank you, right there. Ongoing game.
I
That's where it
think
comes
I think if I think if they had a dedicated
But if you take it as a whole, all the games that were released, they don't have shit to put in these categories. So you see all the same games in the categories, and then they had to pull Erdtree out. It's a great piece of gaming content. It just should be in a different category.
I do have to say, like, if they had a dedicated section for like expansion like content, then yeah, I do think that they deserve some recognition. The problem is ongoing game is filled with a bunch of live service style games. So I think that they're making sure, like, when people hear ongoing game, they think it's a live service style game, like a Helldivers, like a Fortnite and stuff of that nature.
Okay, so that category can be clear cut, but the category of Game of the Year can't be clear cut. Do you know? Like, it can't
I
be
think
one
that's
rule
what-
for
I
one
think that's
rule
why-
for another.
I think that's
It
why
can't be one
it's
rule
in there
for one
is
and
because
one rule for another. If anything, it
it's-
suits that category 10 times more than it suits Game of the Year category, correct?
well,
Like ongoing support. Technically, it fits that more. So that category should be the first bit of evolution. That should be where they give a little bit first. But they don't. They put it in Game of the Year.
I
Why? Because it
believe-
was paid for.
I
Because
believe
they
it's
wanted the
third.
banter. They wanted the clout.
Well, I believe it's the first time something was nominated that had the lowest user score, the lowest score ever. So
And that was
what?
Black Myth.
I think they're grasping
That's
at
insane,
straws.
though.
They're grasping at straws to fill the rosters this year, bro. Not very much
Well,
good
they
content was
I
don't-
wouldn't
they
say
don't wanna
I
look
wouldn't
at-
necessarily say that because you had like Dragon's Dogma 2 had an 86 score, which was higher than Black Myth Wukong. Like there's other titles up there like Animal Wells at like a 90 Metacritic score. There's other games that are higher rated than Black Myth Wukong. I just think a lot of these critics just really loved Elden Ring to the point where they thought it deserved a nomination. That's the only explanation to me.
And that's why you need to kick those critics off the damn panel.
Like Blood and Wine got nominated for top RPG, but it didn't get nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
And I
Like
think
imagine never having bacon in your life. But bacon is just DLC to a pig. But then you try bacon and you're like, wait a second, this is the greatest food I've ever eaten this year. That's what this is.
DLC to a pig.
Hold on. Can I add-
Hilarious.
can I add- can I add
You
something?
guys gotta download the bacon pack.
What? That hurt my brain.
Download the bacon pack.
My brain.
What about Hellblade 2? Should that be nominated?
No,
No,
that is
no,
a game.
Oh,
That's a tech
That's
demo.
not even a game, man. That's a
it
fucking
flippity
tech demo.
flopped, bro. It flippity flopped.
That's an audio-visual
That's a
interactive
benchmark
experience.
tool.
That's a damn visual novel, is what it is.
Yeah.
it's an Unreal Engine tech
No,
demo.
but how many times, seriously, fellas, throughout this year, throughout last year, how many times have we said that these things are likely rigged?
They
It
are
doesn't
rigged.
This
actually.
is, I know,
Yeah.
but this is the most blatant.
go.
Likely, that's the only part of that I didn't understand. Likely.
Ah,
Yeah,
Exactly,
like-
man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I have been
Yeah.
part of award ceremonies for my company, and they literally, you purchase the award and the category you go into, and based on how much you buy in is the place you get in the awards. So I very much wonder if this is the exact same thing. But it's hard to tell. Who knows what
It is
Jeff
hard to
Keighley's
tell.
doing?
I don't. think it's
I do feel like this is a bit From Software kind of flexing their muscles a bit. Like, hey, can you
don't think
get this in here just a bit?
Dude, Pal World didn't get nominated for nothing,
It's
dude.
early
Oh
access.
no!
Oh no, I can explain Palworld in
Why?
It's
a
early access.
word.
Hey,
Lawsuit.
Starfield had shattered
Lawsuit
space.
explains Palworld's
forget.
lack of a nomination.
Wait a minute, didn't Starfield get nominated last year for
No, it
a
didn't
game?
get nominated.
Game of
for
the
it.
year, not for game of the year.
No.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Now-
hey, that should be considered early access as well, because
My
really done yet?
question, my question
Hellblade.
to
the
the
Jiggly.
panel is: do you think if Sony buys From Software, they will buy it for less than Bethesda? Microsoft bought Bethesda.
How
I
much
bet you
is
they
it?
do.
Probably.
10 billion?
7 billion.
Bethesda's a lot of
Probably.
studios.
Bethesda sold
Yeah,
the
so-
Xbox for
Sony-
such an
Sony ain't got
absorbent
sen-
amount because of Elder Scrolls 6 and the promise it was coming. That's it.
Mhm.
That's what shored up
Well-
their stock price right before selling.
It's not just, but I think the thing is, it's not just like Elder Scrolls. It's Doom. There's they've got a
they
bunch
had like
of
a whole
studios.
catalog of games they already
Yeah,
had
it's like, what,
planned,
like,
and they were like,
no one.
I
no
mean,
one
they
put
had
a
mobile
console to
too.
do.
I mean,
Well, but Doom is a massive franchise. It's more of the IP. It has its own movie. Like they made a live action.
couple of
movie
them
Doom.
actually.
But like it's not just that. It's also a tech company. Id Software is also known as a tech company with stuff like Orion Software and like their cloud-based tech do that. I don't know if they're going to utilize that or to what extent. It's just more of the property I think is worth more than Katakawa, which is mostly just From Software and then their streaming services.
Their anime,
anime,
manga
yeah.
stuff.
Okay,
So,
well,
yeah,
see,
I think
that's good,
I think
good
I think
insight.
Sony's gonna pay less. Sony's gonna pay less, and they're gonna get much more for their bang for their buck than
They're gonna
Bethesda.
I
pick
don't
out.
know.
They're gonna pick out who they want, the talent, and then get rid of everybody else.
No,
As the
dude,
host, I'm gonna
I
put the
say Sony
final
needs to
word on this one, and DLC or not, Shadow of
No,
the Erd Tree
no.
definitely
No.
deserves to win this.
No.